Welcome back to the podcast. This is Layla Rose, and today we are talking about demons and what they mean. A lot of times when I see spiritual practitioners, tarot readers, I don't know, a lot of them are in this level of consciousness where they still see duality, right? The good guys, the bad guys, the demons are the bad guys, and stay away from demons and stay away from blood magic, and there's this whole like fear mongering, and it's a subconscious program, by the way. It's not something that people do consciously, so that's why it's nearly impossible to have a conversation with someone who isn't at that level of consciousness. So if you clicked on that title, though, it means that you're probably up to a higher level of consciousness, and you understand that because of the law of oneness, when we see demons or we feel them or they are working through people or we're going through some sort of spiritual attacks, right? And trust me, I went through every single thing of what I talk about. So I know what it feels like while you're going through it, because it feels like you don't have any control over your life, that people are coming at you. And I remember while it was happening to me, I kept on hearing my intuition, and my dreams as well were, telling me to cleanse my womb. And I was like, what is the connection? Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm talking about a neighbor who's harassing me, and all these people harassing me, and blah blah blah, coming at me, and the justice system, and blah 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 blah. And I was like, these things are very real. So like, what do you mean I have to cleanse my womb? I'm not creating that. Yes, I was. Yes, I was creating that. So a lot of, as within, so without. So anything that's happening within the external is a reflection of the internal. So a lot of times when people are going through some sort of demonic attack, or their ex is like a karmic partner with some demonic entity working through them, they created that experience within their womb. That's why a lot of these dynamics are very similar to our childhood trauma, because they're the same thing. It's just an external reflection of it. So when it comes to the word demon, a lot of times we hear the word jinn, and jinn is actually the Arab word for genie. So a genie is the same thing as a demon, right? And trust me, I've came across a jinn at some point before I was aware of why it was happening to me, what was going on. And if you happen to deal with some sort of jinn and you're a psychic, you've probably noticed that these are very powerful entities that can interact with the physical 3D. So even people who don't believe in ghosts, who don't believe in demons and blah blah, they might be a witness to some sort of paranormal activity, like doors moving, candles exploding, like whatever this demon is doing. But it can also be neutralized once we understand that we can alchemize. We can do alchemy, practical alchemy of the womb. And that's how we can clear it. If a man is going through a situation where they're dealing with demons and spiritual attacks, then it's probably their mother's womb. So they can also do, without like her being in the room, there can also be alchemy of the mother's womb to remove all these power struggles and spiritual attacks, right? So when it comes to the word genie, so we're going to go into details about that, because a lot of people are unaware or they're uneducated about that word. So the word genie, when you look at the definition, it also means a magic spirit that is believed to serve the person who calls them. So here's the thing here. If we still have this level of consciousness where we need to be saved, that there's a God outside of ourselves, that we are victims, that life happens to us, you know what I'm saying? Like if we're operating from that level of consciousness, it's going to feel that we're slaves and the demons are actually controlling our life. Like the spiritual attacks are too strong, and it's going to feel unbearable at some point, right? Because that's your soul telling you to become or at least to embody. You're always a god, but to embody that frequency, to embody the goddess frequency, for example. What's interesting about the meaning of the word, so both the word genie and genius, right? We're going somewhere. They're from the same etymology, so it's the same origins. So they both come from the same ancient Indo-European word, gen, so Gen, which means to give birth. Yes, so when you start working with your own personal demons that are usually born from any childhood trauma that you had, once you start to become their master, this is when you can start having, anything you want in your life, and your demons are not controlling you anymore. They're not keeping you in fear, right? And I'm going to get into details about how we can do that. So what's interesting as well with the origin of the word genius, okay, it means intelligence, creative, original. So isn't it interesting that a lot of the things that make us basically sovereign and empowered are actually so demonized, right? They're demonized because if you tell someone, yeah, I'm working with my demons tonight, they're going to be like, you're actually insane. Like, why would you do that? And there's a lot of fear related to that because of religion. And so obviously I wouldn't recommend, to start working with your demons if you're going through chaos. You want to make sure at least that you are in a frequency of calm. You want to be in the frequency of the goddess, right? You want to be in that calm state. You want to be regulated. You want to be grounded, or at least feel like it. Or else your demons are just going to be amplified, and you don't want to do that, right? So you would really want to regulate yourself, and you want to do alchemy as well. So when it comes to working with your demons, you can call that the art of divination. This is not something you have to do like all the time, but I always recommend doing it at least once, because you're actually becoming friends with your demons. That's how you're integrating the shadow. When we look at the love and light spirituality, what happens is that a lot of the shadow aspect is repressed, right? And so when you have a lot of repressed shadow, what happens is that it always comes up in some way, shape, or form. It creates a lot of addictions. It creates, that's when people have double lives and mistresses, and yeah, it gets very dark, and because people are fighting their own demons, but they have the impression that it's people outside of them, like, oh, this woman tempted me. Like, no, it's you. It's the beast within yourself. So when we start to work with the art of divination, what we want to do, obviously, we want to do it in a safe space where we call in the energy of, and we can be very specific, right? We can call in our own inner demon that is, associated with love, for example, right? So for someone who, for example, went through very traumatic experiences when it comes to love connections, when they call forth this demon, you can make a deal with that demon. The thing that I don't recommend doing, because obviously this type of spirit is very intelligent, you don't want to outsmart that type of energy. You want to work on the same, like you want to make them your ally, your friend, right? Because here's the thing. Before you do that type of practice and you're super unconscious, what happens is that demon doesn't know any better, right? It's a neutral energy. People think it's negative. Demons are negative. No, it's a neutral energy. So, for example, when it comes to love, right? So what happens is that because, for example, as a child, you didn't get fully loved by your mother, for example. She didn't love you, or your father. And so what happens is you're attracting partners who are going to recreate that type of dynamic, so they can recreate the emotions, for example, of stress, anxiety, anger, powerlessness, like anything that you feel while you're going through an intense karmic interaction, for example, with a love connection, right? So what you want to do is you want to make a pact. You want to work with that demon and be like, hey, would you be open to, work with me? And instead of, feeding off all this negative energy of me crying and yelling and feeling distraught, because that's, so far I've been feeding you with that, I want to feed you with my happiness, with laughter, with pleasure, whatever. Like all these yummy, positive feelings, this feeling of relief, this emotion of freedom and peace. This is what I want to feed you with now. Do you want to work with me? Are you agreeing to do that? And by the way, I have like a step-by-step video of the art of divination in the Dark Goddess membership, if you're interested, because now I'm just explaining it, but it's a visual practice, because I have to like show how you call in the demon, and then but these are just ideas that you can even start with. There's no right or wrong. Like, it depends on how you're feeling. Obviously, if you're like in fear and you're like, oh my god, I cannot call in my own inner demon, it's gonna hurt me, like, please don't do that ritual within that state of mind, within that emotion. But yeah, so what's really interesting is that now, and you can call in all the demons, like, think about the 7 sins, right? These are all the common demons that people have. And so you call them in, and you do this pact, this ally type of, friendship type of ritual. And now your demons are going to feed off a different emotion, and this is going to give you the fast result that you want within your love life, within your money, because you're not going to be blocking yourself anymore. Because that's what it is. Abundance is always present. Love is always present. Money is always present. But people put subconscious resistance and blockages and limiting beliefs to it. And that's how they're creating their own experience in life. So once you understand that you can actually work with your demons, that your demons are your friends, and this is not something you do every single day when you feel like it, and obviously once you get the positive result in your life, you want to thank them and be like, thank you, I'm so happy, I'm going to give you more of that positive, yummy emotions to feed you. And then that's it. It's a win-win type of situation, right? Because they don't know that you don't want to feel negative emotions anymore when it comes to your love connections. Like, how would they know? You have to talk to them, And yeah, that's why it's very powerful to work with your own demons, because you just unlock this like new level in your life, and you become a master of your life, a master creator, a conscious creator. And you don't live in fear anymore. You don't feel enslaved. You don't fear the darkness and the demons, because you took control. You took, it's not even control. It's more, I like to call it mastery. You're mastering your emotions. You're mastering your life, and you're creating it from a conscious space. All right. So that's it for today's episode. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to give me any comments or suggestions as well. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.